think of the passion, God love everlasting. Keep the law of the land and book in case you're asking. Moving forward to the learning and it's free, cause I know that God know the combo go with Sister E. Love talk Sister E, God work Sister E, charity Sister E, let's talk with Sister E. All different type of information every week. Let me speak. If you subscribe, we going deep. Love talk Sister E, God's work Sister E, charity Sister E, let's talk with Sister E.
What's going on, family? What's going on? Y'all, this is gonna be real quick. I ain't gonna be out here long. How y'all doing today? How are y'all doing today? I love the intro. The intro is straight to the point. If you know anything about my personality, anybody that has ever met me, I am straight to the point. I don't need no 2-minute intro. Give me 30 seconds so people can say I'm alive and then get straight to family business, y'all. Y'all, it's so much going on. I was just like, I've been trying to go live and talk about a couple of things. First and foremost, y'all, does this hold on, let me shut this door because my mom has a TV on 1005. I just got through cooking everybody a late breakfast this morning. My mom and my daughter and myself, we had chicken sausage, a little rice and some biscuits. We had a little country breakfast. So I said, once I got done with breakfast, it's more like brunch because everybody kind of slept in today. In fact, I still got on my pajamas. That's what's so funny. So y'all, it's so interesting to find out the face of the shooter in New Orleans. He looks like us. Y'all, I'm going to tell you something. This feels like Manchurian Candidate. Has anybody ever seen Manchurian Candidate? Give me a yes or a no if you have. Yes, no, you haven't. This feels like Manchurian Candidate. And I'm talking about the Manchurian Candidate with Denzel in it. I think the other one had Frank Sinatra in it. But I'm talking about the black Manchurian Candidate with Denzel Washington playing in it. That's one of my favorite movies. And I told y'all I was watching Manchurian Candidate on New Year's Eve. I kid y'all not. I looked at, you can go, I can show, I don't want to show y'all my Prime account. My Prime account will show you that's what I was watching. Man, I kid y'all not. Sometimes just like, I watched Manchurian Candidate. I don't know why I randomly turned that movie on and I said and watched it. Then lo and behold, this incident happens. Then the incident in Las Vegas happened. Both of them were a part of the military. Y'all remember in the Manchurian Candidate, all of them were a part of the military. Man, this sounds like some old Manchurian Candidate stuff. I promise y'all, this whole incident. And I think the closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to January, when is inauguration? I think it's the 19th or the 20th. The closer they get to it, the crazier it's finna get. Because not only did they have the incident to happen in New Orleans, they had an incident to happen in Las Vegas. Then they almost had an incident to happen in Greenville, South Carolina. Y'all, I kid y'all not. I'm like, are these sleeper cells that they done decided? Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The truck driver in South Carolina. I'm like, are these sleeper cells being waking up to do what they supposed to be doing? And I mean, and this right here, family, I've never seen it like this before. I'm like, are they going to put us on a lockdown or something? Something is just weird. Well, I pray we don't have a lockdown anytime soon, y'all. I will tell you this much, giving y'all a heads up. Possibly, hopefully, we will be having another conference soon. So African Israelite Justice Foundation is planning another conference. I'll tell y'all that much. I don't know. It's going to be during the summer. It's going to be around May or June. So hopefully everything pans out. Once everything pans out, we'll be able to start promoting it. So just pray for us, y'all, that we can get this done. And we can get this done easy and quickly. So it will be on the East Coast, most likely, the way we're planning it, and most likely be in Georgia. So, but just make sure y'all put y'all little monies aside so y'all can come and hang out with us. If y'all enjoyed the last conference, hopefully the next conference will be just as just as a blessing as the first conference was. So y'all just keep us lifted with the foundation. Like I said, we're gonna do it. It'll be during the summer. It'll be after Passover. We've all made the decision that we're gonna wait till after Passover, but it won't be in the heat of day. So, because I know in the South, y'all know I'm from the South. Around June, July, it get hot, hot. So we're shooting for May. So we'll keep everybody posted on the details. And if we're again, it's just something we kind of etching out, and hopefully we'll have everything finalized soon. So praise the Most High. But hopefully we ain't gonna be in no crazy lockdown. Because every single time Trump come into office, something crazy finna happen. That's what I'm bracing myself for. I'm like, is this the doomsday president? Because last time it was a lockdown because of the super flu. Now this man finna be in office. Hopefully ain't no lockdown because folks acting crazy. So let's see. Let me go ahead and get these videos started. So you got that incident happening. And the crazy thing, like I said, the two guys happened pretty much on the same day. One was in New Orleans, another one's in Nevada. And both of them were a part, I think, later on ended up in the same military unit together. And it's so ironic, the connection. And like I said, it gives you the Manchurian Candidate feel. And if you've ever seen Manchurian Candidate, you'll see a situation where they would program them. It'd be like mind programming, like MLK, was it MK Ultra programming? And they would go back to their normal states after they come out of the hypnosis. And then what happens is they would give them a trigger word. And when they would give them a trigger word, and the trigger word was their full names. And then once they give them once they say their full names, guess what happens? They give them the instruction, and they'll do what they got to do. So I thought I heard that they were connected. Okay, cool, y'all. I thought I heard that in the news, but even with that, y'all, I'm telling y'all, this right here is going to be interesting. So let me play this video, and then we'll get into a nation divided, because that's all we're seeing is this nation is just literally falling apart at it seems, at the seams, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Nothing anybody can do about it. Okay, let me see. So, let me do my disclaimer so I don't get hit. Even though it seemed like they didn't kind of pull back on hitting us as much. But just in case, let me see. Here's my disclaimer. Oh, here it is. Okay, so copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, new reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Fair use. Put my little seal up here, even though I don't like it, but I gotta do it. It's not cute. So, share my screen. Sorry, I'm trying to get used to this little computer. My button seems like it's different. Okay, here we go.
Was released by the Vegas Metro Police Department yesterday as we continue to learn more about the situation that unfolded outside of Trump Hotel in Las Vegas hours after the situation that played out, that terror attack over in New Orleans. You can see that cyber truck that did explode. We did learn from investigators, as you heard before the break, that the suspect seen right there took his own life, a gunshot wound, and then also you see that explosion. Those were some of the IDs that were found inside of the vehicle. So much to discuss about the situation here. So I do want to bring in Ron Granieri, Senior Fellow at the Foreign Policy Research Institute that is over in Philadelphia. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Josh. Happy to be here.
All right, so first off, I do want to talk a little bit about the situation that did play out. And my initial question for you, as an expert who started to see that information come in, what was going through your mind as you learned that there is this Cybertruck explosion right outside of the Trump Hotel, and it's right there in the valet area outside the doors?
Right. I mean, it's the first thought was that there were too many symbolic elements for it to be completely accidental, right? That this person clearly chose to use a Cybertruck and clearly chose to detonate that Cybertruck in front of the Trump Hotel. The other thing, though, that struck me is when they talked about what was inside of the truck, is this was not a massive, sophisticated car bomb. The description of tanks of fuel and fireworks and whatnot, it was, this was not the kind of let's say it's not the kind of massive bomb designed to bring down a building that was used, say, in Oklahoma City. And so that was more of a head scratcher, is trying to figure out what the larger purpose of the explosion was.
And then I do have to ask, because based on your expertise here, is there anything that really could have been done security-wise to prevent something like this from happening? We've heard from folks, law enforcement there, that it could have been so much worse, but it looks like the windows didn't.
This is, I was trying to think about, this question's been bothering me for days. And when we realized that for all the security that we can put in place, there are limits to what we can do to stop somebody from pulling a vehicle up in the valet section of a hotel. We can hope that.
Y'all, this one right here is, they said the truck was designed to not explode, but more do an implode up. Why would Elon Musk create something like that? That's my question. You wouldn't think that's a part of your design spec unless. Yeah, it's just, this is finna be the weird. It's gonna be blessed. Let my 2025 be blessed. And that's what I'm saying. But it seems like it's finna be a very interesting year. We haven't even got to other things that are already looming right now, like these H-1B visas. MAGA supporters are mad because they feel like they're not getting the necessary support. Day one, we started here, and it hadn't stopped. It's gotten quiet for a second, but yeah, I think more is coming. So it's going to be an interesting year.
A vehicle that was looking suspicious would attract some kind of attention. But depending on how quickly the person who's using the device is planning on detonating it, it's a reminder of I don't want to sound alarmist here, but I'll say that it's a reminder of how thin the veneer of security and civilization can be, even in places where people are on their guard. And so we just have to we try to keep an eye on these things so that people will notice in time.
I hate to say, is it surprising, but I do want to get your take on what I mentioned earlier when we talk about the several people that were injured. They had minor injuries. So what does that say about the preparation? And I know we talked about security, but just the makeup of the building there and the Cybertruck itself, that you didn't have more serious injuries that occurred.
This I think is a very interesting question. That the Cybertruck apparently was solidly enough built, and the explosive was small enough, even though it was pretty big. It was big enough if you were standing next to it, but it was small enough that the truck held most.
I mean, yeah, I promise you, every single attack that has transpired makes no sense. It just doesn't. Now, all of us, I'm sitting here and I'm watching this on the news, and I think it's to stoke chaos. For what reason? Then, not to mention, planes falling out of the sky. I'm like, what? I'm sitting here and I'm wondering. I'm like, the chaos is being orchestrated. I think it's meant to not make sense. It's meant to stoke fear into the people. Well, they don't realize that the Israelites, we've been waiting for this. We've just been chilling. We knew this was coming, a lot of us. But I don't think it was meant for anything. It was not. I don't think none of this stuff is going to be organized. I think it's just going to be random attacks. But it's not making sense. It's not. Why would the man pull his truck in front of Trump Towers? What was the purpose of that? The man going into the New Orleans and doing that on Bourbon Street, they claim he did it because he was upset about his finances and his family. And they say his original plan was to actually go and pick his family up and unalive them, but he changed his mind. And I'm like, hold on, somebody who's mad about his family in most cases and upset about his finances, they would not take that out on complete strangers. They would go for the very loved ones, because it would be suicide murder every single time. We've seen this. Normal case scenario has been suicide, murder, suicide. And I'm like, this is just not making sense at all. It's not. So I think it's just to create utter chaos. Like I said, Trump is the president of chaos. He is going to create chaos. That's just how he rolls. And I think they don't want no other Yeah, this isn't making sense.
Right, it blew the top off of the bed, but it's not like the truck blew completely apart. And when you think about how a building like that, like a big hotel, is constructed, that there's a lot of glass, and so you could blow out windows. But this is a pretty big concrete building. It's not that easy. It's not that easy to do major damage. It is possible to do damage, and as you say, right, if you were standing next to it, right, the damage would have been fatal. But it does say something about, when we talk about the threat. So when you look at the back of the truck there and you see what was being used, when you look at the threat, we realize that these are not Bondian supervillains with somehow tiny but gigantically destructive explosives, right? This is a guy who put together this homemade series of bombs for reasons that we are still trying to figure out. But there were limits to the damage that he could do, and thankfully, right now there weren't more serious injuries than there were.
I want to talk about some of the similarities between the situation there with the Cybertruck explosion and the terror attack that took place in New Orleans, really just hours earlier there. As of right now, the FBI does say there is, quote unquote, no definitive link between those two attacks. We're talking about a lot of similarities, including the vehicles that were rented from the same location. You, of course, have a lot of similarities. So what do you make of all of that?
Yeah, I've been trying to figure that out too, along with everyone else. And there certainly is a degree of coincidence, right? We don't want to overdo the similarity. The big similarity is they both happened on January 1st, which says to me that has a lot more to do with the symbolism of New Year's Day than it necessarily has to do with the direct connection between these two fellas. Now, there is talk about how both of them served in the Army and they both had a connection to a similar base, but that's the base in question, Fort Liberty, what used to be called Fort Bragg, is gigantic, and so there's lots of people who go through there. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's notable that the New Orleans attacker consciously and explicitly related his action to Islamic State, whereas there is no evidence of any kind of statement or testament, or so far even a social media footprint connecting the Las Vegas bomber to Islamic State, to anything else. And so right now, we can see this as a tragic coincidence, right? Not necessarily copycat crimes because they happen so close to each other. So it's very likely, it's certainly possible and very likely, I'm being careful with my terms here, that these were two actions that were planned for the same day because it was New Year's Day, but not necessarily planned in any kind of concert with each other.
Of course. And you talked about the copycats. Are there concerns that now that we have these two investigations underway, New Orleans and Las Vegas, are there concerns about copycat incidents that could take place as a result? Is that always a concern?
Oh, it always is. In fact, I would even argue that the attack in New Orleans was something of a copycat attack, right? This kind of ramming vehicles into holiday crowds has become a hallmark of a particular kind of Islamic terrorism in Europe, for example, right? We've had attacks on Christmas markets in German cities and elsewhere. That this is a way that Islamic State has been encouraging its sympathizers who can't get access to larger weapons of mass destruction, to encourage them to consider using vehicles and just plowing into crowds. So in that sense, right, what happened in New Orleans already was a copycat crime. And this just is going to further require security people to imagine how to set up appropriate barriers, appropriate traffic diverting elements in places where there are going to be crowds of people.
You have so many people who are watching. Get kind of your take on this. What advice do you have for them? What do you say to somebody who says, I'm concerned after watching all of this unfold?
Well, you should be concerned. You should always be aware of your surroundings, right? You should remember, right, but we cannot allow ourselves to be paralyzed by fear. The world is full of dangers, right? You get in your car and there's danger. You
boring. With that being said, let me stop sharing. It's interesting that they bringing up ISIS every time they talk about a strategic attack coming from ISIS. That's the war, like the war drum is going off. No doubt, I don't think and no doubt do I think we're going to war. I think we are. There's too many red flags out there. To make me think that this isn't supposed to happen. As Israel, we're supposed to keep moving. We're supposed to let this stop us. But y'all, it's just I like I said, I think the craziest time I've ever had was after 9/11 when I was in school and 9/11 happened. It's like the war drum is going off and they need a war to start. And they trying to find the best way to kick off a war. And we see it. We see it. Do I think another attack is coming? I really believe another one is coming. Hold on. Let me go to the next video. Yeah, so the best way to do a war, let's go and get something started. Hold on. Let me go to my next video. Y'all excuse me. So with that being said, it's gonna happen. Did y'all hear that Putin and Trump are already not on the best terms? I heard that. Hold on. So hold on. Let me find a video. Let me see. Let me see. Let me sort by days. In the past week. So they said tensions grew between Trump and Putin because Putin ain't with the peace deal with Ukraine. So it's like tensions are flaring. And I don't think Trump has the aptitude to stop. I think he's going to keep it going. And Putin is not going to stop. So with that being said, we got that going on. Tensions are flaring. And then you got internal powers that are flaring. I think once Trump comes in the office and he seriously fulfills the agenda of these corporate entities who want to bring in mediocre or mid-level quality talent for cheap prices that are not American, guess what's going to happen? Those MAGA supporters going to stand in the middle of the street and cut up right now because the MAGA supporters are already on 10 right now. And they're totally against Musk. They want Musk out. So with those H1B1, H1B visas that are being, because they said they've relaxed the rules when it comes to that. And I don't think it's no cap. I think either every company has a cap of H1B1 visa employees they can pull into their corporate structure or hire. I think that at the last I checked, Elon Musk and them, they're talking about removing the cap, meaning they can have as many H1B visa employees in a building and hire. So you're dealing with that. And these people are already mad about the cost of living being a nightmare. They do that, these folks gonna lose it. Again, these folks don't want minimum wage jobs. Hold on. Let's see. Let me see. H1. Oh, yeah, I'm still on this computer. Here it is. Let me see. Here it is. Hurry. Okay. I'm trying to get straight. So here we go. Elon what must have snuck his way in. Hold on.
Happening over immigration, and that's the topic of H-1B visas. H-1B is our country's largest temporary employment visa program for skilled workers. It allows employers to recruit highly educated foreign professionals for jobs in specific specialty occupations. These are fields that include mathematics, medical science, technology, and engineering. The government sets an annual cap of 85,000 H-1B visas. The program is now under the microscope as Donald Trump prepares to enter office. Many immigration hardliners in his camp have called for the termination of the program, while others like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy have supported it. Trump, for his called the program great and has made no indication that he plans to eliminate it, although he has criticized similar programs in the past. Joining me for more is Zeke Hernandez. He's an associate professor at the Wharton School and an author of the book, The Truth About Immigration, Why Successful Societies Welcome Newcomers, and Stuart Stevens, senior advisor the Lincoln Project and author of the book, The Conspiracy to End America, 5 Ways My Old Party is Driving Our Democracy to Autocracy. Zeke, I had a great conversation with you earlier this week. And Stuart, on the way to that conversation, I heard a great conversation that you had with Nicole about this. So I wanted to get you all in the same room so we can talk about it. Now, Zeke, the H-1B program, like every government policy, is imperfect. You have argued, though, that it is remarkably helpful to American growth. It's got its critics, and one of the criticisms is that it suppresses wages. Talk to me about the H-1B program a little bit.
Look, the bottom line is that the H-1B program is one of the main avenues by which we get access to the world's best and brightest. And these are people who bring at least 5 crucial economic benefits. They bring innovation, they bring investment, they bring talent, they bring consumption, and they also pay taxes. I don't know of anybody who doesn't want those benefits. And so talking about ending or limiting this program is talking about ending or limiting those 5 things. We have very compelling evidence that H-1B workers actually create jobs for American workers. That is, for every H-1B worker that they hire, companies hire more than 1 additional person for a job. We have evidence that these people on these visas disproportionately contribute to patents. For example, immigrants are only 16% of inventors, but they are responsible for 36% of all patents in the US, and many of those immigrants come into the country on H-1B visas, and these immigrants start many of the technology companies that create products and services that make our lives better. That's really what's at stake in this debate.
Stuart, Donald Trump, for now, is coming down in support of Musk, in support of H-1B visas. But back in 2016, in a statement that is now scrubbed from his campaign site, Trump said in part, quote, "I will end forever the use of H-1B as a cheap labor program and institute an absolute requirement to hire American workers first for every visa and immigration program," end quote. Which leads me to wonder whether Trump will stick to this or not. But you had an interesting theory with Nicole the other day, in which you mentioned that if all the people on H-1B came from Norway, Trump would have Bannon would have no problem with this.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. Donald Trump's not going to take a position that will limit like Scandinavian models coming to the United States. This is sort of another argument. The problem with the H-1B visa is that it's too limited. We only do 85,000 a year. We should double or triple that. The founder of Zoom is H-1B visa. The guy who runs Google and another person who co-founded Google, H-1B visa. The person running Microsoft is H-1B visa. As far as what's good for American workers, if take the coal industry, the solution to clean coal is not likely to be found by a coal worker, a coal miner. It's going to be founded by someone who has high-tech skills. This is just a win-win. We ought to do more of these, and we ought to expand that so that if you get a graduate degree in the United States, with your diploma, you should have a green card stapled to it. This would increase the economy. This would be good for everybody.
This is an important point you make, Zeke, that I want to underscore here. The H-1B visa, some of the criticism of it may be legitimate, is that it's limiting for a worker because the visa holder gets sponsored by their employer, and that means that they're kind of stuck in that job. It's hard for someone on an H-1B visa to go to a competitive job from another company, whether it's a hospital or a tech company. That's why Stewart's making the point that they should staple a green card to it so that you have the right of mobility. So we attract more H-1B visa holders because they think they can get.
What exciting benefits do you get as a Hertz Gold Plus Rewards member?
You get this
jobs in America.
Yeah, that's right. These are employer-sponsored visas. And so the employer has a lot of control, and it's very hard for workers on H-1B visas to move to other jobs or even to quit their jobs and start a company. In fact, there's research that shows that the moment someone on an H-1B is able to get citizenship or be on a different kind of visa, they are much more likely to start companies like the ones that Stuart mentioned, whether it's Zoom or Pfizer or Moderna or all these companies that make our jobs better, that make our lives better, and create a lot of jobs. And so the program certainly can be improved in its design, not only the fact that we don't have enough of them, but to fully allow these immigrants to make their contributions that make us all better off. But I think that at a minimum, we don't want to reduce the number or eliminate the program. We want to expand it and make it more flexible for sure.
Stuart, obviously, these are, I was talking about U.S. Steel earlier. Strange bedfellows sometimes. You never know who's on what side. This is another one. Senator Bernie Sanders weighed in on the issue this week. He accused companies of using the H-1B program to bring in, quote, low-wage indentured servants. Now, part of the criticism is this, that you can't move around with an H-1 visa, but he's criticizing it from a labor perspective. Fair criticism, not the same reason that a whole bunch of people on the right are critical of the program, but it is part of our immigration issue in this country that we've got a lot of different views and some imperfect systems, and we have to have a comprehensive look at how to improve immigration in our country.
Yeah, I think it really goes to what is your concept of how the economy grows and what is your concept of what it means to be an American. We're talking about birthright citizenship. So Donald Trump's mom is Scottish. So Elon Musk's kids, they're not going to be United States citizens because they're birthright citizenship examples. If you believe that the United States is not a limited pie, that it can grow, which every bit of evidence would indicate. I mean, look at where the stock market is. Look at where employment is now. Anything that will increase that is good. We need to start really worrying about America is when people stop trying to come to America to get better jobs. North Korea doesn't have an immigration problem. We should think about that.
Yeah, America is still the chief destination that people want to come to, and we should work hard, Zeke, to keep that.
Yeah, he does have Eric Levitt. Whoever said, I think it was Eric who started it. He do got rosy cheeks, like he was in the back pinching his cheeks. You know how they do that? Them folk do. They pinch their cheeks so they can be rosy red. Yeah, his face look a little glossy, like somebody put some Vaseline and lip gloss on his lips. He do look a little glossy, but. Y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all something. This will be the single line of division, the American dream. And if Americans, homegrown, born Americans, cannot get access to the American dream, but they give it to immigrants coming in, you are going to see this country go into an utter tailspin. Because again, emotions are heightened already. Already folks are on 10 because financially they're not capable of doing what they want to do. And the two examples I think that we saw here recently, because they said the first guy who was American born was having financial difficulties. And I think the other guy, I think he was having, I'm not sure, but that's why I think these are so. There's no rhyme to the reason of why. Like they said, he's connected to ISIS. Come on now, I don't believe that much. I think it's a little deeper. And the crazy thing is, this is what I think is we're gonna start seeing more and more and more and more and more and more of, because people are financially in a clutch right now, and they can't afford it. And you bring in Indians and all these different people, and they give them, they get these jobs. And that is right with H-1B1 visas. It's like they're locked into a job, and if they apply for another job, the other job has to be willing to sponsor them. It's a lot of red tape with H-1B visas, but if they remove those boundaries, that would not work well for them. So with that being said, it's a lot that is being played right now when it comes to these visas, and I believe that's going to be the big divide. It's going to be one of the major divides, and the whole time the U.S. is fighting with each other, foreign entities are watching, and it leaves us wide open. But I mean, it is what it is. I ain't upset about it, being honest. It unbothered. So.
It is interesting because, in fact, the point Stuart makes goes even further. If we've seen numerous studies, including those done by the government, that
can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Because I'm off the screen. Could y'all hear me a minute ago when I was talking? Because I just realized. Hold on. Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me? Okay, so y'all could hear me. Okay, this is my first time taking my full, Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna keep playing it.
If we restrict immigration, legal immigration to this country, the economy stands a chance of shrinking, not growing over the next 10 years.
Want to simplify entry into the federal market? Then review the free
Yeah, in fact, we don't need to speculate about that. We know because we've tried it before. We tried it in 1924. We tried it during the Great Depression by deporting half of all the Mexican Americans in this country under the pretext that we would create American jobs. We've done it during the Obama administration with the Secure Communities program. All the evidence we have on all of those historical attempts to limit immigration or even reduce it have created less jobs for Americans, have reduced innovation, have reduced entrepreneurship. In other words, they've made us worse off, right? It's the most un-American thing that we could possibly do. One thing to add on this too is that I think this idea of limiting immigration or making it harder for people to get citizenship comes from this thinking that, well, we have to really make sure, we have to try very hard to make sure people assimilate, otherwise they won't really commit to our national enterprise. And the evidence is quite the opposite. Citizenship is not like a hurdle that people should overcome. Citizenship is a very powerful incentive for people to contribute to our national enterprise. There's been studies that show that when you make it harder for people to get citizenship, they contribute less because they don't feel like they belong. So citizenship, after people pass, of course, some basic requirements, should be something that is not that hard to get because it will allow people to make more contributions than otherwise.
I want to understand a little bit about backlash to this feels like, because with the budget or with the continuing resolution, there were 38 people who decided to snub Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and then there were 10. Steve Bannon, Stephen Miller, who's going to be in the White House. These are all guys who want to eliminate H-1Bs. They're up against a different crowd. How's that all going to play out?
Well, it's just sort of fascinating, this fight between Musk and Bannon. I think you have to look at what their power center is. Steve Bannon has no power at all without Donald Trump's approval. That's not true. Right now, Elon Musk is sort of in this I'm really president mode. But if Donald Trump and Elon Musk broke up, which is going to happen, Elon Musk is not going to disappear. He still is going to be the wealthiest person in the world. He may have some difficulties that they're going to throw up with the great tax benefits that and beneficiaries of the United States government that he gets with contracts, but he's still going to be like an important, wealthy guy that has big companies. That's not true of Steve Bannon. So, look, are you driven by fear, which Miller and Bannon are? And these are two clearly damaged individuals. We're sort of using public policy to work out personal issues. Or do you believe that we have an optimistic vision of America? I go back to Ronald Reagan's last speech. Say what you will about Ronald Reagan. It was an ode to what it meant to be an American. Anybody could come here to be an American. And if we lose that ethos, we really have lost, I think, a lot of what it means to be an American.
Well said, gentlemen. Thank you for your contributions today. Zeke Hernandez is a professor at the Wharton School and the author of The Truth About Immigration. Stuart Stevens is a senior advisor at the Lincoln Project and author of The End.
I don't care how many books they put out. There's somebody who is living in Illinois or Indiana or Missouri that has lost their job and they have to blame someone. They want their lifestyle back. They want their boats. They want their expensive trips. They want their expensive everything. And didn't realize it was a game and it was going to be short-lived. They're not going to let us. This system is, I don't think this system was ever designed to sustain the middle class. It was used to pull from the middle class to be successful and make wealth off of the middle class. And then once they've gotten what they want from a wealth perspective, then let me kick the middle class out and we can bring in cheap labor. And it's all about sustaining right now. It's not about, it's not even about innovation. It's more so of sustaining with the concept of some form of innovation, but innovation that's not costly. Because they want to keep their workforce going. They don't want to have to spend money on labor. They don't want to have to spend money on our 401ks. They don't want to have to spend money on these on benefits and health insurance. They don't want to have to spend money on high-end salaries and bonuses and all that. They want bare minimum. They want you to come in, they pay you bottom barrel salaries, and then tell you, okay, do your job and get maximum amount of work out of you. And that's it. Optimization. They want to be able to utilize that. So, okay, you ready for the room? So, y'all, I just wanted to kind of hop out here and tell y'all. Let me go to another room real quick. Go into the other room. Madison has some work to do. We're at my mama's house, so we sharing spaces. Hold on, y'all, because I want to finish this before I close out. That's the game right there, y'all. That's the game. I'm gonna go in the kitchen because the other room is loud. Kitchen is not as loud, but that's the game right there. They're trying to make as much money as possible without having to worry about paying y'all high-end salaries. Hold on, I got another video to show y'all. I'm telling y'all, it seems like it's more commercials now on YouTube than I've ever seen. So let me see.
Feud between factions of Trump's MAGA base over H-1B visas came to a head over the weekend, with the president-elect coming out in support of the program that allows the brightest foreign workers, many of them engineers and computer scientists, to live and work in the U.S. The broader debate reveals a significant rift in Trump's MAGA base just weeks before he is set to take office. CNN's Brian Todd has more.
The president-elect finally weighs in on a controversial issue that pits two of his top advisors against his MAGA base. Donald Trump now defends the H-1B visa program, which allows thousands of highly skilled foreign workers to immigrate to the U.S. every year to fill special jobs. Trump told the New York Post, quote, "I've always liked the visas. I have always been in favor of the visas. That's why we have them. I've been a believer in H-1B. I have used it many times. It's a great program."
It's one of the first signs of disunity or disharmony in the folks who support Trump and who are going to make up his administration. And this is likely to be an ongoing point of tension.
Trump is now siding with billionaires Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who Trump has tapped to lead the new Department of Government Efficiency. Musk and Ramaswamy have defended the H-1B program, Musk posting recently the reason he's in America, and quote, "Take a big step back and blank yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend." But Musk and Ramaswamy's stance is being slammed by Trump's MAGA supporters, like his former White House strategist Steve Bannon, who said on his podcast that H-1B takes jobs from American citizens.
The program from top to bottom is a scam and a con. There is nothing in this program that should continue to exist. Nothing. These are coders that are going to work for a third of the salaries and work like indentured servants. That's not American citizens.
Trump's comment that he's, quote, always been in favor of the H-1B visas isn't true. He previously opposed those visas and restricted access to them several times during his first administration in an effort to curb legal immigration. But in the 2024 presidential campaign, Trump had changed his tune on skilled workers coming to the U.S.
What I want to do and what I will do is you graduate from a college, I think you should get automatically as part of your diploma a green card to be able to stay in this country.
Musk, who was born in South Africa, came to the U.S. as a foreign student, later worked in the U.S. on an H-1B visa. And it's his companies and those of other tech giants who've recently courted Donald Trump, which stand to benefit from more H-1B workers in the U.S.
At least at this early stage, some of the tech leaders, including Musk, who bet on a Trump administration to deliver them policies that would be favorable to their industry, to their businesses, may be seeing some return from them.
All right, well, my panel is back to discuss all this further. Stephen, I want to start with you because you had a big picture piece for CNN.com on this, where you write, in the coming weeks, Trump's ability to reconcile the differing interests among conservative budget hawks, hardline MAGA lawmakers, and comparative moderates who may be vulnerable in the 2026 general election will dictate the fate of his aggressive legislative plans on immigration, budget trimming, and tax cuts. So this is a test.
Right. I think this issue does show the fissures in the new Trump coalition. It's very interesting this time around. It's not just the MAGA grassroots working class base. You've got this new tech Silicon Valley aspect to it. That said, all presidents have to manage their coalitions. This is nothing new. I think the question is, going forward, will Trump side on more issues with Elon Musk and people, the millionaires and the billionaires in his cabinet, who've got strong self-interests as they go into the government for their own businesses? Or will he step back and be worried about alienating some of his most loyal supporters? In his first term, we didn't see many occasions when he was willing to get out in front of that core support.
Stephen, I want to start. I want to bring to you this from the Wall Street Journal editorial board backing Trump on Sunday, writing, Trump may be wrong in trying to save TikTok, but he is right to endorse the value of H-1B visas in the dispute between Elon Musk and Steve Bannon. Mr. Trump is choosing the side of enlightened nationalism.
Listen to this.
To the blinkered declinist version. So how do you square this with his America First mantra that arguably propelled him back to the White House?
Well, I think goes to my point I made with the talking about the Johnson, where he's gonna have to get involved, I think, a little bit more deeply. A lot of this disagreement happened over the holiday when he really wasn't involved. And once he did, it has declined some. And even the people who are still opposed are attacking Musk, notably, not Donald Trump. I think that's a very notable tone message change. And I think, look, it's really important, as we're also seeing, again, to bring it back to Congress. I think Republicans are very, very keen on the fact that their first priorities, they need to be things that unify. So look, H-1B is an important immigration part. I don't think it'll be in that first package, especially with this fissure. You're going to be seeing things that, like, whether it's border funding, wall, things that they know could pass relatively easily. I think it's a Trump's objective to get points on the board as quickly and as effectively as possible.
And Megan, some Democrats have called Elon Musk, President Musk, of course, during the spending fight. But what does this controversy, the visa controversy, tell you about Elon Musk's role within the larger MAGA movement?
I think he has a substantial role in the larger MAGA movement. You see that, you saw that with the funding fight. You see that here. He's always normally the first person out. And it's interesting that you say that attacking Musk over Trump. They understand that attacking Musk is getting underneath Donald Trump's skin as well. As he put out a statement, he talked about it. And so I do think he has a large part to play here. And I think that we will see how he impacts sort of some of the policies going forward. And to Stephen's point, is it going to be for the working class, or is it going to be for the millionaires and billionaires? Because so far it's for the millionaires and billionaires like Elon Musk.
And the New York Times reports this. Federal data shows Mr. Trump's companies have received approval to employ over 1,000 workers through the two H-2 programs in the past 20 years. Mr. Trump's companies have applied for a dozen H-1B visas since 2019, but then most of these applications for quality control manager positions were subsequently withdrawn. Currently, Mr. Trump's winery in Charlottesville, Virginia, is seeking 31 foreign vineyard workers under H-2A program, offering them $15.81 per hour. So does Trump have a vested interest here? Is that potentially why he flipped?
I can't speak to that. It's a good winery.
It is a good winery. It's a really nice winery.
Yeah, it is. Their cider's named Donnie Appleseed. Fun fact. But no, look, what I would also push back is this dichotomy between the MAGA base and the millionaires and billionaires. If citing the H-1B, for example, the Democrats support H-1B expansion. I mean, I don't know if you would characterize them siding with millionaires and billionaires over that. Same thing, almost everyone, when I worked for Jeb Bush in 2016 primary, aside from Donald Trump and others, were in support of H-1B expansions as well, or at least keeping the status quo. So I would push back a little bit on this dichotomy that it's either MAGA base or H-1B is millionaires and billionaires. That's not the case.
All right, where do we see this going? Really quickly, I'm going to do a quick round robin. Where do you see this going in the next few days? Do you think they can resolve any of these issues?
But I think to what end, right? I think this is a little disagreement because I think there's a slow stuff on X. When we actually have the speaker fight going into the first 100 days, this will not be an issue.
I agree. I don't think this will be in the top 100 days issue. I don't think this will be part of their major immigration package. I think this is just another food fight that's, like you said, for the holidays. Gives us all something to talk about.
Everybody's fighting for their family, no matter what form that takes. How about you? What do you see in the next 3 weeks?
They've been trying to fix H-1B visas since George W. Bush's immigration plan. So the chances that it's going to get done anytime soon are pretty slim.
This is interesting times. I'll say this at lunch. What do y'all think in 2025 going to be interesting? This is why I think we do need to do things like conferences and coming together, more so than anything. I think, us coming together here in the U.S. and praying together and having coming together and doing things like that, and going before the Most High to bless us and protect us in this time is very important, because it's going to be an interesting year. I think this year is going to be a roller coaster event for them, and it's going to be a eventful time for us to watch, because this is the faster we get. We just now what's today, the 5th of January, and we already had 2 attacks and 1 potential attack. And we ain't even made it to a full week yet. I'm just grateful for the Most High. I'll say that much. So family, that's all I really wanted today. Told y'all I wasn't going to be out here long. I didn't want to be here too long. And then not the plane crashes. We had plane crash after plane crash. So I just want to kind of talk about those things real quick. I hope today was really good. Did y'all enjoy it? I try to space them out and try not to overdo it, because when I do 5-hour lives, y'all not going to hear from me for about a week. And I think the live beforehand was like 5 hours. I may do something later on this week, and I'll drop the link and let people come up. But I know if I do it today, I'm going to be out here for the next 12 hours. And I need to go and check up on my mom. So with that being said, family, keep your eyes open, pay attention to your surroundings, and pay attention to what's going on, family. You ready for this little bumpy ride? That's all I got to say. Thank y'all so much for y'all support. I will see y'all later on this week. Hopefully, probably, I ain't going to say I want to do something tonight, because then I won't do it and then feel bad. I'm here with my mom, so I'm trying to make sure she good, so. All right, family. Y'all have a good one. Praise the Most High. Love you.
All different type of information every week. Let me speak. If you subscribe, we're going deep. Love talk, Sister E. God's work, Sister E. Charity, Sister E. Let's talk with Sister E.